Welcome to the Business Value Exchange. My name is Helen Beckett. I'm the Community Manager. And with me today we have Joe Peppard, who is Professor of Information Systems, Cranfield School of Management. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Helen.
And Joe, I know very much big data and the way we use data is a big theme of yours at the moment. Indeed, it's a big theme in the boardroom. It's on the agenda now. You've talked a great deal about the shift that's happening, shift in paradigms in the way we view data and big data. Can you just talk a little around that first of all?
Well, I think I'm actually seeing a number of shifts at the moment that I think are really fundamental. But let's focus on one in particular that relates to your question, and that's a shift away from, as I see it, focusing on managing and controlling information, to a situation where organizations are now actively seeking opportunities to leverage information. Now, I would like to preface any comments that I make that leading companies have always done this. But I think with all the attention that big data is getting today, it means that a lot more companies are now waking up to the fact that actually may be value in the data that they hold. And indeed, many more are actually recognizing that if they could incorporate perhaps data generated externally with their internal data, and some of that data might be structured and some may be unstructured, that they can leverage a lot more value from the data. So I think, if we look at a number of industries, for example, what we're seeing, let's say in manufacturing, is that a lot of manufacturers are now implementing service-based strategies, for example. So they no longer see themselves as selling products, but actually selling services. And those services are based on availability, the availability of the product. Now, this is a fundamental shift in their business model. However, it's heavily dependent on IT and heavily dependent on their ability to leverage information. In the services business, for example, cooperative insurance and other insurance providers today are offering telemetry-based insurance products. So rather than using traditional actuarial approaches to assessing risk, they're now combining those approaches with actual driver behavior. So they're actually collecting driver behavior using a small box in the car to collect data in relation to the speed at which the insured person drives, their braking, cornering, etc., to assess risk, and therefore use that data to better price policies.
Those are great examples, Joe, of how leading industry companies are using data differently. They're combining the two, as you say. And I guess this is one of the shifts you refer to, move from managing data to exploring it and exploiting it. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of what knowledge is as well? I know you've spoken about that, the difference between knowledge and data.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, I think two concepts that are very relevant to this conversation are exploration and exploitation. When we talk about exploration, essentially what we are focusing in on is discovering new knowledge, generating insight about our customers, about maybe operational processes, about our marketplace, for example, from that data. Or we're looking at using data to support decision making. And obviously this is where a lot of the attention that big data is getting today. When we talk about exploitation, essentially what we're doing is we're actively seeking opportunities where there are what I would refer to as information asymmetries, and then look for opportunities that IT provides to essentially make what is at the moment invisible visible. So when I refer to information asymmetry, essentially I'm referring to a situation where one party, let's say to a transaction, has more or better information. And there's many situations that can exist either inside or outside the organization that provides such opportunities.
So that's a big difference that you describe, and I'm wondering, given our audience is very much the CIOs and the C-suite, what actions should they undertake? How should they amend their strategy? What should they be doing now to reach that stage?
Well, I think there is a role for this, clearly for the CIO, because these are information stroke IT based or enabled strategies. But from my own research, I think there's very clear evidence emerging that no matter what the CEO would like to do in terms of driving an innovation mandate, the CEO sets the tone. And I think it is very difficult for a CIO to have an impact if the CEO and the C-suite does not recognize the potential of information and information technology, and in many ways treats it as a second order issue. I think that if the C-suite does, I believe the CIO is ideally positioned to actually drive an innovation agenda and become a major catalyst in developing these new information-based strategies.
That's a strong message of encouragement and some direction there for the CIO and the rest of the board, Joe. So many thanks, Professor Joe Peppard, for sharing your thoughts today on data.
Thank you very much.